Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Happy New Year. Happy 2021. Hopefully, this year is a better year, more productive. God bless you all. I'm here with Hollister, Melick, and Tyrone. Glad to see these guys. Not really see them, but hear them. We speaking to each other. And let's get this new year cracking. Hopefully, we can get our subscriber count higher and we can keep making progress on this podcast and take things to the next level. Um, as you know, we spoke last week on, not last, yeah, last week, and we talked about quote unquote chemistry with the Brooklyn Nets and versus the Lakers and their new players. So with that being said, I know I was talking to like some of my boys and them, and they were trying to get at me like, "Oh, what happened to the chemistry? The Nets are struggling, and what happened? This, that, the other." And I was like, "Yo, shut up." You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, right? We were getting open shots. We were just missing them. The Hawks, they kind of, gave us a little run for our money. We've seen a lot of things that we need to work on as far as, and I know I like to say we sometimes, I always laugh at people who do that, but, it is what it is. When you're a fan, it's we. But at the end of the day, you got some things you got to work on as far as defensively and rebounding. And I'm not taking my stance back. I'm doing a Stephen A. Smith where I feel that the chemistry is still there. Offensively, we have the tools to get the job done. I do have to admit, we are missing Dinwiddie. He was a guy that I used to kind of criticize a lot, especially last year, with how I felt he used to hold the ball a little too much and different things like that. But I do feel that if we had him in some of these games, I feel like the rotations would have been a lot more smoother. You know what I mean? Kyrie could be a lot more off the ball per se, as opposed to being the primary ball handler and different things like that. And defensively, Dinwiddie is really good. But I don't want to, take up too much time. But I still hold that stance. The Nets are still have a little bit better chemistry than the Lakers, where Schroeder is like kind of like icing freaking AD and chucking and want to get the ball more, and he's a shoot first guard and et cetera and et cetera. So, Hollister, what do you think of that?
I don't see no panic, no reason to panic. It's 6 games into the season. Still got 66 more to go. We're gonna be fine. As long as they, it's growing.
Facts.
It's part of growing pains. Every team goes through it. They have their little droughts. They lose a couple games, this, that, and the third. As long as they get everything together for the next man up with Dinwiddie being out. As long as everybody gets together, when it get right when it's time for the playoffs and the finals. There's no need to stress or go crazy now. It happens. It's part of their
Facts.
game. It's part of the game.
Facts. That's from a smart gentleman right there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Menelik.
Yeah, I mean, similar to what you were saying, because I was going to bring that up. I think Dinwiddie going out has some impact on it. I mean, he was starting with those guys, and they seem to be playing better with him. I'm not saying it's single-handedly him. There's other issues, other things that could be or need to be addressed, but I
Yeah.
definitely think that's part of the issue. And yeah, I mean, and with the Lakers too, I mean, they got some things they're ironing out. Wes Matthews and Gasol, like they have been playing all right and a little better afterward, but they didn't really go the way they thought they would be going. So I think it's, um, you know, could go either way.
I agree. Tyrone? The Nets got him speechless. That's how good they are.
Sorry, I was talking without. I was talking. I was talking and didn't even press, the mute. Sorry about that. But I was getting ready to say, I don't really know, judging off of 3 games, how much Dinwiddie was important to the team. I know this sounds crazy, but he only scored 9 points, 6 points, and 5 points in the 3 games he played. It wasn't like he was averaging the 20 that he had last year. So I don't really know how big of an impact that is. But again, like I was saying to y'all last week when we was comparing the two teams, I was saying it would compare to the Lakers. See, the Lakers had to bring in role players to fit. Like their new pieces were role players. And I think it's a little easier to get a team in sync when you have new role players than if it was with the Nets case. They had to insert superstars onto the team. So and the role players have to now adjust to their new roles because Levert was the leading scorer. So was Dinwiddie. Joe Harris was getting more shots. And it also too, I mean, I know it's I believe I'm not sure, you probably could tell me, but interrupt me if you can. I think Jared Allen was starting more than DeAndre last year. I'm not
Yes,
sure.
he was.
Yeah.
Right. So now they got Jared coming off the bench now. So a lot of that adjustment for these role players can be part of the problem. I don't think the Nets are in danger. Like I still think they're a championship contender.
You got Cameron Durant.
I'm not gonna go out there and say they're gonna win the title or anything, but I'm just saying, like, when you're comparing it to the Lakers just had to insert role players to fit with their superstars, whereas Brooklyn had to insert their superstars to fit with their role players. That's the way I see it. And that's kind of showing a little bit with some of these role players trying to adjust. Now, when you talk about Schroeder and I think you said Gasol, I don't think Gasol's really going to be as impactful as people think when they got him because he's older. I think he's more of a guy that's going to probably play a lot of the first and third quarters. I don't think he's going to really play in like crunch time or anything like that. So I think he's more of just like a spot to fill for, replacement for McGee and Howard. Schroeder will be fine. He's starting now. They took LeBron off the ball. It looks like it's, going pretty well. I think as the season go on, maybe LeBron will go back to being the primary ball handler, but I still see Schroeder starting. But from right now, hate to bust you guys' bubble, but the Lakers do look better than the Brooklyn Nets right now. And it could change soon. But that's just what I see so far. Things could change. There's only 6-7 games in the season.
No, I feel you. I mean, look, I feel like they're playing weaker comp, but that's just my opinion. But honestly, I got valid points. I mean, as far as like the Schroeder thing, I was the main argument, like I said last week, between Aubrey and I was the fact that role players not knowing their role, and I told him that I believe that because the Nets have had, they've been with each other. Even though KD and Kyrie haven't really played a lot of games the first year together, they've been with each other. So I feel that the guys kind of knew that coming in, like, all right, these are the two alphas right here. Obviously things going to change when they get on the court. They're going to be the ones who are handling the ball more and do this, that, the other. So I figured that they kind of understood that. So, and plus when you practice with each other, even though I know it's practice and we're talking about not a game, we're talking about practice, I know that it's still something that develops in time, right? But I do understand the argument with the Lakers that they had more role players. My only issue with the Lakers was that you have a guy like Dennis Schroeder who came over and he specifically said, I don't want to do this bench thing no more. So that's already coming out saying that, look, I've already been there, done that. I want to have a bigger role. As the games that I did watch with them, I noticed that we already knew that from before, but he's a shoot first kind of guard. So, he'll get the ball. He'll do like the little pick and roll thing with Harrell. He'll do different things like that. But for the most part, he's going to go for his, you know what I'm saying? Whereas AD is supposed to be the second guy. Then you also got Gasol, like you said. Gasol, I never really looked at him as being a super threat. I just think they needed a big man who could defend decently and who could spread the floor enough for AD and LeBron to go to work because, Gasol could stay at the three-point line and hit an open jump shot and hit an open three, unlike JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard. So I understand the reasoning behind it. But like I said, to me with the Nets, I do believe that even though Dinwiddie didn't have crazy points those other games, just having a bigger guard, a ball handler who can kind of let Kyrie and KD kind of roam and also create for himself, I think is a value thing because now we got the Tabou Savalon, whatever, the French guy, who's starting now. And he can hit a shot. He can do certain things. He can defend relatively well, but he's not like a Dinwiddie lover. He's not really the guy bringing up the ball and handling the ball. So primarily it'll be the Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving bringing the ball up court anyway and dealing with everything. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm not hitting the panic button. We were in every game that we lost. It was like only one game I think we got really punched, but for the most part, we was in every game that we were in. And I just feel there's a little bit more as far as defensively, like letting these guys hit all these shots, and the shots that we were getting, we just wasn't making them. Like there was a lot of open shots these guys missed, and it is what it is. But to your point with the Jared Allen, I do agree. I feel that Jared Allen should start off with DeAndre Jordan. No disrespect to him. However, he doesn't, but he does get more minutes than DeAndre Jordan throughout the game, and he also get the closing minutes. A lot of times when it's a tight game, he always get the close. So I guess that was the kind of compromise that they had. Have DeAndre start up with a little bit at the beginning and then give Jared Allen the time to go in there because honestly, like I can always look at him and see that he's going to get a rebound. You know what I mean? I can feel that he's going to get it 9 times out of 10. than other guys. So it is what it is. But with that being said, we've been watching a lot of games. We've seen a lot of different teams that we didn't expect to be doing well. We see, just how weird this new season is per se with the shortened, training camp and the shortened season. And I really see look at the Golden State Warriors. They're getting smacked left, right, and center. And I can see the frustrating Steph Curry's, demeanor. You know what I mean? And yeah, Draymond, I think Draymond supposed to play today or not, but it's like they getting punched in every game. And it's like I thought there would be a team that we kind of predicted when we had our predictions that they'll be in the running for playoffs. At this point, I think they're gonna be back in the lottery. So, do you guys have any other surprise teams that y'all see, whether they're doing well or not? Mentally?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it's fully a surprise for me, but because I did predict that they would be doing pretty good, but the Hawks. And once again, it's still early. I don't want to overreact, but
so they beat the Nets. Not it. I was joking.
Nah, man, Ice Trey, man, he about that life, man.
Ice Trey.
They really showing some promise, and I think they're gonna make a little more noise in the East than I originally thought. I definitely thought that they would make it into the playoffs this year, but I think they might. Be one of the top few teams in the conference. I mean, once again, it's still early, but that's one thing I would say is I guess a surprise, something I wasn't expecting.
Okay, Hollister.
Team that has me surprised, well, not with a winning record, but a losing record. The Wizards. They're 1-5. I know it's gonna take time for Westbrook and Beal to click, but I expected, and them at least be competing a little more than they are, but they'll get it together at some point. Hopefully they don't wait too long to get it together since it's a shortened season, but I think they'll be fine at some point.
Got you. Tom?
Yeah, I got two teams, one in each conference, and one is doing a lot of winning, one's doing a lot of losing. Number one in the East, Orlando. They're coming out 4-1.
Yeah,
3-0 on the road. Vukovic, Fultz, Gordon, T. Ross, they doing their thing. Nice surprise to see them come out. They do have experience because they've been in the playoffs, I think, the last 2 years. Yeah, they are last 2 seasons. So they got that playoff experience. So, they're starting to grow. We can't sleep on them because I didn't even pick them to make the playoffs. But in 5 games, they look real good. So I see them improving, and they may be one of my first mistakes in my prediction because I don't think they're going to fall down. They've been that group of guys been together for a few years outside of Fultz and some of the rookies, so they could build from that. This might be their time where they take it to the next level because they do have a lot of great talent on that team. The team I have an issue with in the West is obviously, I'm pretty sure of you guys, the Denver Nuggets. They went to the Western Finals.
Yeah.
They let Jermichael Green go. I'm not Jermichael Green. Jermani Grant go, and you see what he's doing in Detroit. That's a big loss. I mean, I thought they would get better with Will Barton back and everything. Michael Porter, I think he's out with. I think he has something with the. I don't know if he was in contact or in reach of somebody that had COVID, so I think he's out for a game or 2. Jokic is putting up his numbers. Murray got also a slow start, but he kind of got busy the other day. So I think Denver is probably the most disappointing so far if you're going off the first 5 games. So that's it for now because it's early.
I agree. I mean, I do, Malik, you're right. I agree with you with Atlanta. I was surprised with them. Not to say they bum juice or nothing like that, but a lot of the young players, the way they was hitting them shots, man, and the way they play, move the ball, they really good, and they are good defensively. And then the way Trae Young be getting all those calls, man, it's like he a vet. So they already got it kind of locked in. To Steve Nash said, that ain't basketball. Let me stop. But as far as the Wizards, Hollister, you're right. To me, I thought that with the Russ thing, they'll be a little bit better because you add in Russell Westbrook and Beal. Even though I did feel that John Wall has still been a good asset. But like I said, no disrespect to Russ, he's another guy. Even though he has great work ethic and stuff like that, his style of play is not really constituted to winning so much. It's mainly stat padding and looking good. I'm not trying to say he's deliberately doing that. I just feel that he's not like on that level to like really lead the team per se to that kind of promised land. So I hope they do turn it around. And like you said, Tyron, with the Denver Nuggets and stuff like that, they was riding on that high, I mean, in the bubble, and now they coming out slow. And I'm kind of like, I want to chalk a lot of this up because, like I said, we were 6 games in. I want to chalk a lot of this up for like, the fact with the turnaround, especially some of these teams who had, their whole situation going on, and like, they played in a bubble, some didn't. Just going to chalk it up to that and people getting their rhythm. And I'm hoping that maybe like in the next month or so, as people start continuing to play and things start to get more of a flow and a rhythm, that these games start to pick up a little bit more of intensity and everybody start to get the rust off. But switching gears from the NBA, last weekend, I believe Dwayne Haskins was let go from the Washington football team. And it was a big controversial thing that everybody was talking about in First Take and Get Up and all ESPN and stuff like that. We're talking about black quarterbacks and how they already have a stigma against them. They already feel that they're not smart enough to lead a team and do what they have to do. So for him to be on the team, I gave him a pass. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, because he's black, but not only because of that, but the fact that he got a raw deal. He got to a team that wasn't really kind of locked in professionally. A lot of stuff going on within organization as far as like rape charges and sexual assaults and confusion with the coaches and different things like that. It wasn't like a real well put together organization. So you want to give him a kind of a pass, but he kind of put this on himself. And I hope he get another opportunity. But when you ain't balling, you ain't putting in that work, and you out there bumming it and acting a fool, having strippers coming through your crib, and blowing protocols when when your head coach just as a cancer survivor, and how much the team desperately needs this win this weekend and different things like that to try to make the playoffs, and here you are acting a fool, and they benched you for a dude who damn near lost his leg in a football accident, and they benched you for him. That's a problem. I don't know what else is a wake-up call that you need, and it's just sad to see. And I'm gonna let Hollister get in it probably a little bit later. I'm back, you know what I mean? Because I know that's his team. But yeah, Malik, what do you think about that?
So, to what you were speaking with, I definitely feel that he did do a lot of it, or put a lot of it on himself, right? Yeah, he's a young quarterback. He showed some promise. It hasn't really translated fully, but I think the team itself or other teams might have been more inclined to give him a chance if it wasn't for some of that off the court stuff, because it does make them feel off the field stuff. But it does, a lot of teams look at that as, certain level of maturity, certain level of work ethic, where your head is at. And if you also are not producing at the same time, then, people are more likely to look at the other things you do and be like, yeah, I don't know about this guy, or he's just trouble, or he's not worth it. This, that, and the third. I mean, I hope he gets another shot. But as far as, he definitely had a hand in it, and I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Tyrone?
Listen, I ain't worried about black or white or all this black quarterback, white quarterback stuff, because I don't see Lamar Jackson doing none of this. I don't see Pat Mahomes, Russell Wilson.
Exactly.
Like, look at these guys. So yeah, they do have stigmas over them, but at the same time, some of the best quarterbacks in the game right now, if not the top three, are those three, and they're African American. So I ain't even using that as an excuse, because he, from the time he was even drafted, people was skeptical of him and his talents. That's why he dropped in the draft so far. He wanted to go to the Giants. He was a Giant fan. He felt hurt because the Giants took Daniel Jones over him. You would have thought that would motivate him. Nah, it didn't. He played partially in his rookie year. He stunk up the joint. They benched him. So then now you see Daniel Jones. He got a nickname, Danny Dimes and all that. He making running plays. This guy, he came from Duke. Duke is not even known for quarterbacks. They're not even known for football. They're a basketball team. And they drafted a guy from Duke over you. That's alarming right there. He goes to Washington. The opportunity is right there for him. The guy that was supposed to be the man literally shattered his ankle. So he was out for 2 years. It was right there for him. He goes there. He stinks it up on the rookie year. Okay, you give him a little pass because he was a rookie. A lot of times rookies need to learn and stuff. So you kind of give him a pass. Then he comes back. Then he comes back again, and this season was just horrible. Like they gave him the keys again. Alex Smith comes back. He's the third string quarterback. You screw up again. Somehow, and somehow he gets back to being the starting quarterback. You know why? Because he wanted it bad. That's Dwayne Haskins' problem. He didn't want it that bad. A man who literally broke his leg, who almost lost his leg, was willing to fight for that spot. You should look at him as an example on what it is to compete and fight. You took it for granted. You thought, oh, use this high fancy first round pick. Yo, this is my spot. No matter what happens, I got this. But he ain't know all the while this man is rehabbing to come back and start. Took his spot. And then instead of he gets hurt again because he got hurt a couple weeks ago. You have the keys again. You have your opportunity again. You're at a second chance to take this franchise back, who, mind you, is in a playoff hunt, a division hunt. So that's extra motivation. You could sit there and say, let me lead this team to the playoffs. And then you go, you first of all, you're not playing well. And then I don't care if he was 19. Everybody knows the COVID protocols. This is common sense. It's common sense. You got these protocols, and then you break every last one of them. Every last one of them. It's the same thing with James Harden. I'm going to treat him just like Harden, even though Harden's older, which is worse because Harden's older. But it's the same thing. Like, these guys know what they should not do from what they should do. And they still go out there and do this. So he doesn't get no sympathy for me because he was told that. And then, look, he's doing it at strippers in hotels and no mask. And come on, you're not that good. You're not Pat Mahomes. You're not putting up Pat Mahomes' number where they could give you a slap on the wrist or give you a fine or a game or two suspension. They outright released you because you're not that good. If he was half as good, he wouldn't have got released. But you're not good. You're not learning. And then it's a slap in the face to Ron Rivera because he's a cancer survivor. You have a guy like Alex Smith who he got his leg rebuilt just to come back and play for this franchise. And here you just took it for granted. Look at how these guys are. Ron Rivera was coaching with it. He deserves to be released. I'm sorry. Listen, I wish him all the best, but this is a bad look for him. I don't know if another franchise is even going to take a chance on a kid like that. At least not next year, or I don't know, man. He may be out of the league for a year or two. This is a bad look for him.
Yeah.
Be honest with you.
Honestly?
Yeah, from the time he got drafted, the organization didn't want him. The only person that wanted him was Dan Snyder. He only drafted him. He fought to draft him because he went to
that's true.
Prep school with his son or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
So they try to throw the blame all on Jay Gruden from the jump. Jay Gruden wanted Daniel Jones or somebody else. So they try to blame, Jay Gruden want to give him a chance. Jay Gruden see what everybody's seen now. He don't understand the playbook. He don't study properly. He don't make the simple passes. He want to make the big plays all the time. He knows Ron Rivera is a no-nonsense military background guy. He's straightforward with everything. You come in there, he give you an opportunity, you blow it. You go out there doing all this stupidness. You're not studying the playbook. They could give you the captain patch. They give you that. You mess it up, they take it away from you. Now they gave it to Chase Young, who's a rookie. Who's doing what he's supposed to do. He's understanding everything that he's doing what he got to do, this, that, and the third. Haskins blew everything. You had a chance to win the game against Seattle. No, it was a tough game, yeah, but we could have clinched the playoffs that day. You lose that game, you go to the strip club to celebrate, celebrate your girlfriend's birthday or something like that. Instead of you going to the hotel studying more. He had it coming. Now he got released. Now he's upset. And he says all the right things to the media. Yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But on the field, he doesn't show none of that. He don't show none of that. So he pretty much set himself up for failure. Ron Rivera is no nonsense. He's straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Got to keep him moving.
Yeah, I mean, like y'all hit it right on the head, man. It's like it's sad to say. Like I said, I'm not trying to like say I want to give the cat like a pat on the back and stuff like that. I look at it like this, man. A lot of guys, and we said this even with the James Harden situation, even though James Harden will come out and hoop, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of these guys, man, they get this opportunity and they think that it's that's it. Like they made it and they locked in forever. You know, he got a little taste of freedom. He got his bread, and now he think he's like going to be in the NFL forever. It's like,
Oh yeah, one more thing, Mike.
go ahead.
And another thing too, they trying to Ron Rivera is there to coach the team and also change the culture. He already released Darius Geis early in the year, who was supposed to be a promising running back. I think he assaulted his girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah,
Ron Rivera cut him from right there.
yeah.
Ron Rivera's not playing. He's changing the culture in that team. And Haskins thinking everything's a joke. Now look.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And like you said, man, it's like, you know, Ron Rivera is a no nonsense type of guy. He's a different culture. Honestly, to be honest, Haskins was not his guy. That's why he brought in that Kyle Allen or whatever his name was.
Kyle Allen, from Carolina.
You know what I'm saying? Because he knows the plays, he knows what got to do. And like my thing is this, man. We said this in many times, and even when we were referring to basketball, it's like, you know, when you get this opportunity, and I know we're speaking from a different place because we're speaking from a place that's not there, but we understand the opportunity. We understand the realism to the game. Like, you're playing a game, a sport, and you're getting paid millions of dollars to play something that you love to do, right? That doesn't really feel like work to you. You get what I'm saying? And you can't even suit up and get it in there. Like when he didn't get drafted to the Giants and he fell to 15th, he said, "Yo, I got to chip my shoulder. I'm gonna prove everybody wrong." He did not. He had a couple of he had a couple of good games at the first year, and then at the end of the season. Now, granted, he had a lot of turmoil. The coach didn't want him, kind of set him up for failure. The offensive line was trash. He was getting rocked, and like you said, Hollister, like he liked to try to make the big plays. He had the big arm. He want to make the big plays and different things like that. He's more of a pocket guy. Doesn't really got the legs to run out and do different things like that. And he has talent. The kid has talent. The problem with him is that he's not there mentally. You can see that. He got the bread. He's hyped. Then he also went to a team that's in his hometown. And to me, I always said that if I ever was into any profession, I was fortunate back in the day to make it to the NBA or whatever, I would not want to play for my hometown city. Like, don't get me wrong, be in New York or whatever. You know what I mean? I know that if I was a Knicks fan, Town would come to the games, even though you hate the Knicks. But at the end of the day,
I would come to the game, and I would hope that you as a Knick would drop 35 points, 16 rebounds, but the Knicks get blown out by 20.
So like, yo, at least my cousin got his stats.
Yeah, at least he got his. I don't know about them, but he got his.
Yeah. So like I was saying, right? You know what I mean? Like, because you have too many distractions. You know what I mean? Especially if you don't got the mental fortitude like some of these guys have. Like, and I feel that with Dwayne Haskins, he's the guy falling under that, you know, that kind of like cliche, because he got to the league, he got the money, he got his little guarantees, he did what he had to do. He's like, yo, I lost my captainship. He said all the right things, like you said, Hollister, in the media, but then your actions don't. It's like just having empty words. Your actions not proving it. Here it is. Like, I seen the video of Alex Smith's injury and how they thought it was a routine thing. He lost freaking muscle tissue. The man almost lost his leg. I seen the photos of his leg looking deteriorated. I even seen him running on the treadmill and still not running properly. His legs are a little flap in this because he lost so much tissue for his legs to even run the proper way. And he worked his butt off to get back in the league. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be like a little kind of pseudo thing. He's not gonna really be able to play. And the man went out there, played, took some hits, and did what he had to do. Almost had another bad injury when he got freaking cleated. You know what I mean? The man worked his way back to the game from an injury that almost could have killed him and also could have took his leg. And here it is. You have Dwayne Haskins, right? A young, talented guy who's not taking it seriously, not studying the playbook, not making the right reads, not really showing that kind of evolution in the game, right? And just thinking because of his talent, he's going to make it, right? Because he probably went in the end program. So, you're so good, Dwayne. You could do this, Dwayne. Look at that foot. Look at that throw, Dwayne. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? He did all that growing up, and he thinking it's thinking it's sweet. And the sad part about it is he's black, and the reason why we had to bring that, and I agree with what Foxworth was saying, was that, you know, it became a narrative because people start talking about this black quarterback thing. And like Tyrone said earlier, we have so many other black quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, you know what I mean, Russell Wilson, freaking Patrick Mahomes. I don't know, his mom getting tight. Patrick Mahomes, all the different things like that.
Kyler Murray.
You know what I'm saying? Deshaun
yeah,
Watson.
Deshaun
You know what I'm
Watson.
saying? Like dudes putting in work, and here it is. You got this kid playing around, and then all they're gonna do is focus on that kind of thing. These guys fought so hard to get into the league to be quarterbacks because a lot of guys that I know, not know, but you heard a lot of players who were actually quarterbacks in high school and college, but then when they got recruited, they said, "Now we're gonna put you at a receiver role, or we're gonna make you a running back," and they took that away from them because they're trying to just make it seem like that leader has to be a white person, unfortunately. And it's just sad to see that the kid has tremendous talent, but he doesn't have the work ethic to add to it. Now, I do believe he'll get another chance. And somebody made a joke the other day. It's like, man, it's crazy, man, how they just released him right before a game. He's going to be crazy for the freaking Patriots next season. You know what I mean? It's a people going to say, like, you know what I mean? Like, Belichick's going to snatch him up, get him into that system. The culture around him is going to get him in shape, and then he'll be able to do what they need to do. And we'll see what happens, man. But I do hope he get another chance. But like you guys all said, and I know Hollister, you coming from a place of frustration because you have been a, Washington football team fan for a very long time. You've been through the struggles. You've been through all the crap that's been going on, and you've seen it firsthand. Watch the games. Like for me, I'm an outsider looking in it. I'm a Giants fan, and I watch football, on a casual basis. When the game come on, I check out a few games based on the players that I like. You get what I'm saying? Whereas you would follow on your team and stuff like that. So I can understand the frustration in regards to that. But I like I said, I just hope we get it together. But on a lighter note, I don't know if we mentioned it last week, but Kawhi Leonard, I like the fact he made a joke, and he did it with a very kind of Kawhi-ish kind of way. He was like, "Oh, they're calling me Leatherface." Everybody know he took a bad elbow from Serge.
Yeah.
Off a rebound, his own teammate busted his lip open. Had a lot of stuff going on, and he was suffering from that. Had to wear like this face mask to look mad dumb, like the middle of his face is open, but the mouth is closed, and I think the eyes are covered. I forgot how it looked, but it looks stupid. And he got to wear that, and they're calling him Leatherface and all other stuff like that. And he was like, "Yo, Serge can't make no jokes. We got him on the trading block. We're going to trade him soon. We taking any calls for trades from him." And he made a joke about it, but I'm glad he's doing well. But it's just crazy to see that, man. It's just bad. So what y'all take on that? Oh, Malik raised his hand. Yeah, Malik.
Yeah.
No, I made a mistake. Sorry.
It's all right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'd like to see. Kawhi is definitely a little different. He has his style, sense of humor is a little drier, and whatever. But yeah, it's cool that he could take it in stride and make a joke like that. He was saying too that it was like a little. I think he had get used to playing with it or whatever. But I mean, he had a pretty good game that first game. He came back, and he definitely helped the team just being out there again. And as far as the Clippers in general, I mean I feel like they've been okay, but they still a little up and down. They're not as consistent. So I guess we'll see how that goes, and if Kawhi ends up doing any kind of load management later, like to a certain level, or if he has any future issues with the stitches or the mask and anything like that. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was a funny thing. I mean, and speaking of that, and I know I'll get Tyron and Hollis's opinion on that, but a lot of these teams are getting punched, man. They got smacked by like 50-something points, and freaking way off. It's not a big deal. It's just a game. It's like, yo, son, like, you mean to tell me that Kawhi is that nasty that y'all get smacked by 50? And it's like, think about it. They were losing by 50 points and a half, and they lost the game by 51. So they didn't even crack the lead. They didn't even like make a dent in the joint. So the whole game they was getting washed. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous.
Not to jump in, but you could give it a pass. I mean, listen, people are still giving the Clippers hell because of the performance in the bubble. So I think it was more that, like, had they played a hard-fought 7-game series where the Clippers and the Nuggets were going back and forth, and there was no 3-1 lead, and they just happened to lose in a hard-fought series or lost in the conference finals or the finals, and then they had this game with the 50-point loss, it'll be a big deal, but nobody will be making fun of them. People are making fun of them because they trailed 3-1, Paul George hit the backboard, and, there was a lot of jokes on, the Clippers. So I think that is more of people just throwing more salt on the wound from last season. Because guess what? the next day or 2 days later, the Miami Heat had no Jimmy Butler and lost by 47 points. So you can't say it doesn't happen. Now, I'm not saying you guys saying it, but you know how fans have been making fun. It happens. This has happened. The Miami Heat were in the finals and they lost by 47. And they lost one player just like the Clippers did when Jimmy Butler didn't play. So it happens. And they lost, and they got blown out by a team that they pretty much handled easily in the bubble. So, you know, it happens, man. And Giannis didn't even have, not Giannis had, and they lost while Giannis had 9 points. So, you know, things like that happen, man. I agree. Maybe Paul George isn't the guy that should be saying it from what, you know, based on his gameplay from the bubble. Because, again, this is about the bubble and why people saying it. So, listen, man, he's right, though. It does happen. It's nothing you can do about it. I've seen the Bulls, I've seen the Jordan 96, 72, and 10 team lose by 30-something points to the Knicks in one of those set 10 losses. It happens, man.
Yeah, it does. Honestly, you're gonna say something. I was gonna jump on that.
You know, also the Laker fan. You know, people gonna get on the Clippers more because you know the Lakers. They were supposed to pretty much meet the Lakers in the conference finals, and the fact that the Lakers won, so you know they're gonna pick on the Clippers for every little thing. But like Tom said, it happens. As long as this stuff don't happen in the playoffs, then it's like, all right, regular season is like, okay, you know what happened, like damn, but you don't really gotta stress it or dwell on it too much. It's one game. As long as it's not happening on a consistent basis, then it's a problem.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than that. The only reason I'm saying that is because when you look at what happened, like you look at what Paul George was saying, you know, the way he did it, he was pretty much saying that, oh, you know, yeah, you know, Doc this and Doc had me like I'm Ray Allen and had me coming on pin downs, and it's like there's no accountability. I think a lot of people get upset about the Clippers is because the Clippers just thought that the ish didn't stink and they were just going to win the freaking, you know, playoffs, and they only wake up for the Lakers and they didn't care about nothing else but just the Lakers, and they just thought they had it in the bag and all this other stuff like that. And then when it came down to really putting in that work, they was coming up short. You get what I'm saying? Now Kawhi, he like an Android robot, so he was pretty much being consistent. The last game, he was kind of like, you know, out of it. But at the end of the day, you see these different things. You're like, yo, I get it, but these guys, they don't want to have any accountability. And that's what Doc Rivers was saying, even when he had his exit meeting. He's like, look, man, I have my part to play, but people got to start taking ownership. And I feel that it's always an excuse. So for me, hearing that from Paul George, especially talking about going to the city, a championship, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. It's like, you can't say all that stuff like that. Yes, it does happen. But to me, it felt like there was no fight. And honestly, I agree with Kendrick Perkins on this one. It's like there was no fight in them. It's like they just let it happen. And it's like, all right, we got our butts whooped and it is what it is, you know. We got smacked by this, and that's it, guys. You know, we lost, guys. It's like, nah, you gotta really go out there and like put in some work. And I felt that they were just content with getting washed, and that's just how it seemed to me. So I could be mistaken. I just felt that that's how they thought it was. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Like, but be that as it may, I'm still enjoying these games. So I'm happy that the season is on the way. I do feel bad for like Golden State. I mean, it's kind of sucks because they went from being like the top dog and, you know, the most coveted team and everybody kind of like emulating their style to now getting washed. And Steph Curry, you know, thinking that he having braids can make a difference, and it ain't helping him, man. It's like he getting washed either way, and I could see the pain in his eyes. I could see it in the frustration, and he, you know, talking about the IQ with the guys on the team, and like they getting hyped and they doing like windmill dunks and they getting smacked by 30, and it's like, yo, man, we losing, bro. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and honestly, it really shows me too, no disrespect to Steve Kerr, like everybody was creaming off Steve Kerr and like, oh, Steve Kerr, the man, such a great coach, and I'm not taking nothing away from him, but it's like, all right, now let's see you really coach these guys, man. You ain't got nothing now. Let's see what happens. You ain't got no KD, no blanket like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going to really happen? You don't got Clay. You don't got certain things. Like, coaching is more to me than just like the X's and O's. You got to look at the guys you have. You got to look at their personnel. Like, you know what? All right, I got Kelly Oubre. I got this guy. I got, you know, Andrew Wiggins. They're not like Clay. They're not like Draymond. I got to get them their shots in different ways. I got to make this work for them. And like trying to like do this kind of like, all right, go over here, stand up in the corner. Steph going to do his thing. They're going to double him, triple him. They're going to throw you in the corner. You're going to hit a three. Like, it don't work like that. And I feel that there's no adjustments. There's no changes. There's nothing per se that, you know, Steve Kerr is actually implementing at the moment to make them do anything differently. And that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's just how I see it. Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, that's about it for me. Unless you guys have anything else.
Yeah, real quick, just want to
Go
say
ahead.
rest in peace to the Hall of Famer Paul Westphal.
Paul Westphal.
Yes. Indeed, man.
R.I.P.
A lot of people dying, man. It's getting crazy, man.
90 in the 90s, he
Here
coached
Cookie
with
go. Here
Charles
Cookie go.
Barkley.
Took them to the final, took Phoenix to the
Took
finals.
Phoenix to the finals, and it literally happened today, which is the second, which is one day after David Stern's 1 year anniversary. He passed away New Year's Day last year. So, two NBA legends passed away in January 1st last year and January 2nd this year. And of course, we all know January 26th coming up will be the 1 year of the late Kobe Bryant. So
yeah, man, that's crazy, bro.
So, January is kind of the month that starts the year. Not kind of, but it is the month that starts the year, and we're starting it off with some of the surprising passings of people. So hopefully it's not as much as last year. We know it's going to happen. It happens every year.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's not as bad
as
as last year.
Yeah, man, you're right, man. Because it's eerie. Because I was watching this video yesterday, and it was talking about Michael Jordan, Jordan effect, and it was talking about Knucklehead podcast, Darius Miles and what's his face? Forgot.
Quentin Richardson.
Quentin Richardson. Yeah, right.
People, and they were talking about Michael Jordan, and Steve Nash talking about how watching him play kind of inspired him. Iverson said how he loved Michael Jordan, and he's the reason why he wanted to play basketball and this, that, the other. And they had an interview with Kobe before he died. God rest his soul. And he was like, how, you go. I got to see. You got to show me. This is Kobe saying that about Mike. And he said, I didn't back down to that challenge. We had a great, thing, whatever. And he said, Michael Jordan never shared nothing with nobody, but he shared stuff with me because I'm about that life. And it's it's kind of rings bell because like what he said, Michael Jordan really kept everything close to the chest, and he looked at Kobe like a little brother and somebody who shared the passions of the game the way he did. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I took me a while to really kind of appreciate Kobe Bryant, and this is before he died. Like after he retired, and I feel I probably have the same feeling towards LeBron, even though I do appreciate what he's done in his career. But I'm saying a lot of time people be kind of meat riding LeBron. I'd be like, no, I can't vote with that. But now, seeing he's coming to the tail end of his career, and there's gonna be another void, like how we said before, when Michael Jordan left, it was a slight little void. That excitement is gone, that guy is gone. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't gonna be no void with LeBron.
But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
No, but let me explain. Let me explain something. Cause a lot of people that knows me, and you know how these LeBron fans are. If you don't praise him or bow down to him like they do, you're hating. Any LeBron fan you hear it on TV with Kendrick Perkins, who's on drugs. Ryan Hollins. Thank God I don't have to see him again
Shannon Sharp
on ESPN. Shannon Sharp.
Shannon
Sharp. He's the only guy that I can allow. He's funny with it, so I don't get mad at him as much as I do the others because he just sounds funny when he does it. Although he's wilding too, but
Skip.
Come on, Skip.
Come on, man. LeBron James got to carry that team, Skip.
But here's the thing. I've only had two issues with my thing with LeBron is two things. One, he's not number one. He never will be number one. Nope. That's the issue I have with people when they talk about LeBron. Because I don't hate LeBron. I think LeBron is one of the greatest players to ever play the game. He's not in my top 10. He can get there. He can get there. But I have other guys that, to me, I think are more qualified to be there than him. But he is one of the greatest I've ever seen. I'm not a hater, but people get this idea that if you don't praise him, you're a hater. But my issue is I don't think he's number one. Number two, it's mainly the LeBron fans that make you not want to talk about him because it's like they'll run to a brick wall for him. I'm like, guys, relax. He is a great player, but and a lot of times it's the younger folks who probably even 10 years ago was just barely learning how to walk. So for them to tell me that he's one and this one isn't on his level and they're telling me things and I'm like, dude, I was watching him before you were born. I've seen the times when, just like people like to bring up with Mike, they like to bring up, oh, we couldn't get past Detroit. I remember LeBron couldn't get past the Celtics with Paul Pierce and Garnett and them. He couldn't get past them.
Yeah, they run to Miami.
So he had to go to Miami. So let's not forget that. I remember when they was knocking him out. So, but that's my issue. That's really my issue with LeBron, though.
I
don't hate him. I give him his respect. It's just that I'm not gonna drool over him like everybody else.
Like you said, give him my damn respect, man.
See? That's another thing. He says slick things that, you know. And then I was just reading something. There was a couple of things that I do remember, because these are some of the things that I don't like about him, because I think that he can come off a little more phony than what he really is. And JJ Barea, I was reading an article, and it reminded me of something that I do remember and I thought was disrespectful, was that he was talking about how Dirk would never say it, but Dirk Nowitzki hated those guys. And he wanted to beat them in the finals so bad because they mocked him when he had that fever. And the next day, LeBron and D Wade entered the arena on camera, making fun and coughing and teasing Dirk. And he said Dirk took it personal. Dirk would never admit it on camera, but behind closed doors, he wanted to kill them so badly in the finals, which he did. So
I read an article like that today on Yahoo about that.
Right. That's what I just read today. So I was like, wow, those are some of the other things that, people don't forget. They forget about those kind of things with LeBron. They walk around like he's this super clean guy, and there's a lot of disrespectful things I've seen him do and slick things that he does. So that's another thing why I kind of don't praise him the way everybody else does. So, there's little things like that with him that annoys me. So I don't hate LeBron people. For all these people, I don't hate him. I just don't drool over him like you guys. I'm sorry for rambling about it. But.
That's fine. I mean, I agree with you. Like I said, I do believe the same thing. Like, I ain't respecting LeBron like that. I do respect him as a basketball player. I respect him as a man. I respect him, the stuff he does on and off the court, as far as like, trying to help people and different things like that. But like you said, I'm not going to give this man like, all this fandom and like make him like he's like his itch don't stink and he's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people get in these kind of habits because they're so caught up in in one narrative, and that one narrative is like, oh, if he's not the GOAT, then who is? Because it's recency bias. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I know him, so I'm just going to just rock with him. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's like you can't do that. You can't just look at somebody and say like, oh, that person is just because he is LeBron James that he's just going to be the GOAT. You know what I mean? Nah, I don't believe that. So for me, it is what it is. And like you said with the whole thing, I read that article too. And I agree with JJ Barea, and I believe it happened. I believe that LeBron and them, they're feeling themselves like, oh, I'm LeBron, we're going to win this joint. And they're making fun of them. And I'm glad they lost in the finals. And I'm glad that Dirk got that win. And they were able to humble those cats because they need to be humble. 100%. If that's it, I mean, I guess we can wrap it. You know what I mean? So, let you guys get Melly Gift, son, Tyrone, Hollister, anybody else?
We good to go, man.
With me, I was just gonna say, I just wanted to congratulate Ryan Garcia.
He knocked his kid out.
I followed him a little bit, and he showed like in his other fights, he never really had to like prove himself in that way. But after getting knocked down, he really fought back and was able to KO the guy, so that he showed his heart and showed something that he ain't showed that side of him before. So I just wanted to.
He got caught with a bad one. I was watching that fight. I'm a boxing guy, so I was watching that one before we got on. So he came back pretty strong. Hurt him with a body. He's very powerful. He has fast hands. So he's an up and coming guy, man. So congratulations to him.
He's fast. I've been watching some of that stuff.
He hits the bag blindfolded, so he's nasty. So congratulations.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So look, we're gonna get back into it, guys, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get back into MMA, other fighting things. Right now, we just kind of talk about that. We have a passion for that. You know what I'm saying?
MMA is on vacation right now. 16. Come back on the 16th. Then you got Conor coming up.
Exactly. So we got a lot of stuff coming up We got the NFL playoffs coming up next week. We'll talk about some of those things. So we're gonna be there. It's just that we're gonna get there. But I want to thank you guys again for listening. I want to thank you guys again for watching. I want to thank Menelik, Tyrone, and Hollister for joining me today. Like I said, we're really trying to get this podcast moving. We're gonna try to figure out different ways to get more engagement and just get things out there. You know what I mean? So you guys can enjoy the content and also give your feedback. And like I said before, and we always said, if anything else you want to talk about, let us know so we can speak on it. You know what I mean? And add that to the podcast. So again, I want to thank you guys for listening. Hopefully this new year we have a lot of good things going on for us and our families. Stay safe and God bless you all.